should have put more than one bottle up. You hit it with the first or second shot.
Yeah. I was trying to go to hit it, but I didn't think it was going to disappear that way.
Holy shit, buddy, that's a tight fucking group. You're nailing that motherfucker. You don't want to, because that's how you start to shake on that as well. That's not too hard to grip, because
Trying to do over the top, I noticed that when I pull, I go like that. Have it on the top.
You should be holding that way. You should be covering the other thumb.
Yeah. Well, there's some say that if you cover the thumb, it causes issues.
I don't know why they would say that. That is the standard two-hand shooting deal. But that's why there's all these guys. And the thing I always tell my guys is, I can teach you some basics. Then you have to develop what works for you. Yeah. And sometimes that means taking a little from this guy, a little from this guy, a little from that guy, until you got exactly what's pounding and working. You found something that works. There's no doubt about that. That's pretty fucking cool, buddy. Good for you.
Yeah, they shut up on that dot pretty good. I remember when I was able to would be shooting my 40 and I couldn't even hit that freaking water bottle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to touch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely improved.
Yeah, good for you.
Let's see. Pause this again. Hey, hello guys. Yeah, shot a few guns a little bit. Took some lessons from my roommate. Starting to clean them now, all my firearms. I was just finishing off some reload rounds that I had out to get rid of those. But yeah, I figured while I was cleaning guns, I could make a video. Where start with this sucker. Yeah, 22. But while I was doing a video, I figured maybe I could do a little bit of a backstory rather than just going straight forward with the fact that I'm going into the military, and some of you guys care for that, some of you guys don't. Well, this is a bit of a difficult one, yeah. It's really neat. You do this so you don't have to have any tools, but hurt your fingers a bit. Oh, sweet, I threw a little oil under there. That's good. Yeah. Now, anybody who really knows me knows that I grew up in Vegas, went through high school and everything down there, so definitely a unique city. Where's the 22? Is that 22? Yes, 22. To get to know. Am I cleaning and oil? Yeah. No, which one is the oil? Need the cleaner. Gosh darn it. Oh, that's what that is. Okay, maybe next time I'll use that rather than this blue shirt. I forgot I even had that. Ah, what the? Oh, that's gonna be stuck down there for a little bit. Did I just leave it? Get out of there. Come on. But yeah, I'm a little slow at this. That's alright, it's all cool. No, after high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and some of you guys can relate to that. Some of you guys are go-getters and knew exactly what you wanted and went for it. I didn't. I thought I knew, so I was looking into that, found out that there was a college for it, so I went to college at UTI. If you guys don't know what that is, it's an abbreviation for Universal Technical Institute, which is an automotive college, and I went into Arizona to do that, and so it was the first time I was away from family, and yeah, it was quite a learning experience. And anybody who, I thought it was neat to be away from parents and everything else so suddenly, and yeah, I had a lot of freedom, but it did come with a little bit of a learning curve. I had to learn how to shop for myself. I had to learn how to pay my bills, and still have enough to go out and do the things I wanted to do. Fortunately, it limited me because finding a job at that time was very difficult for me, never having work experience before. Not just any company wanted to let me just jump in and go to town on anything they had. I had to basically prove myself to them. Ooh, shoot. Oh, there it goes. That was a fucking... Remember, close the freaking lid next time. I think I just ruined my roommate's table. Okay. Yeah, that's not cool. Damn it. Yay! How much fun. It says it's designed for 22, but it doesn't really fit in there too well, does it? Yeah, no, it's not fitting too well, so X-ray on that one, and we're going to go with this little sucker. And use it because I know for sure it'll get in there, it'll make it in there. Maybe that one's for rifles or something, I have no idea. But, screw on there, there we go. A cleaning kit that doesn't work for 22 too well. That's alright. I just know that this is very tight tolerances for this. Because of this model. It's a barreta. And even experienced gun shooters that I've been around have told me it's quite tight, even for the standard of some guns. It's not like a Colt. Colts, I guess, are very loose. I've never fired one, never took one apart, so I wouldn't know. I just know that this thing likes to give me a little bit of a struggle when I clean it out and do the maintenance work on it that it needs. Should probably have a freaking Q-tip or something to get down in here. Really nice and tight. But oh, look, there's little brass chunks in there. That's kind of cool. I'd have never thought that, but hey, now I know. Got a little finger thing on there to release it. Neat. Anything else in there I need to get? Let's look down in there. But back to what I was saying, I was, yeah, away from parents. That was a bit of a learning experience. And then I went through and I graduated and got an associate's degree. Then my parents came down and helped me move up here to Washington, where I am sitting and residing right now. And I had to live with my grandmother for a little while. And any of you guys who live with grandparents know that they can be difficult to live with. They've always got their own agendas, and they don't really, it's their way or the highway. They don't really care what you have to say. You could sit there and bring up a valid point, they'll argue with you. Some parents are like that, but luckily my parents, even though we got into an argument, they're the types that taught me that without black and white proof, it really ain't shit. So I would either show it to them and prove it to them, or I would find it online or something like that and prove it to them. But that was difficult, and I got a job where I was tossing tires. I was a mechanic, going. I was looking to work on all kinds of different stuff, and ended up finding out that I just tossed tires for ever, and which really built some strength up. You get these tires, they go anywhere from freaking 50 pounds up to 250 pounds because it was a fucking diesel shop, and they definitely freaking wanted to maintain their tires and everything else. So I was doing tires all day long, and I did that for a year. That sucked. And then when I left there, I went to Ford and worked for Ford for a little bit. It really didn't work out there. I had a customer that was, I guess, spent a little too much money. I had an accident on their car, and they came back, and they decided to let me go because they didn't want to get rid of anybody else in the shop. So it was like, you were the first guy to screw up, so you're the first guy gone. And yeah, so I basically had to deal with that crap, which wasn't really horribly bad. It just really bummed me out because I really wanted to work there. But hey, things happen for a reason. You don't always get what you want in life just because you want it. You have to work for what you want, and you have to work really hard for it. But I found out that maybe being a mechanic wasn't the best I had, so I ended up working for another company where I was a mobile mechanic running up and down a freeway, saving diesels on the side of the road. And I was working on trailers all day long. That had its ups and downs, of course. Its good days, its bad days. I learned to weld. I learned to fabricate. I learned all kinds of different stuff about how all these vehicles work, doing the electronics, dealing with fuel systems, because fortunately, you would think that the number one problem of breakdowns on the side of the road would be a blown tire, and you'd be wrong. The number one breakdown on the side of the road is the truck driver forgetting to fuel up his truck. It's hilarious. You go up and first thing out of their mouth is, I got no gas, or I got no fuel, and you look down there and say, and they're like, well, my gauge says this, and it's just like, well, when was the last time you fueled up? And then they tell you, and it's just like, well, obviously your gauge is off, dude. Like, you don't check your mileage, which is one thing that they're required to do. They have to freaking write down their mileage in a little book that they have to keep with them for DOT purposes. Now, some of these guys are just completely oblivious to it. Let's look down this barrel here and see. Still got a little bit to go. Get a little more cleaner. I'm gonna have to buy more of this now since I just spilt it. Oh, this is a pain in my rear. Oh, I hate doing that. I'm so stupid sometimes. Freaking. I just got complacent, thought I was just fucking more badass than I actually was. But I left there, and my boss, he was prior military, and he would always be telling war stories and everything else. I had an issue there. Yeah, I didn't like the job the best just because I was out doing a bunch of things I really didn't want to do, and finding out that basically dealing with those kind of customers, when they come to their vehicles, customers are very, very particular, especially truck drivers. They think they know more than you. They tell you how to do your job. It's very difficult work. And as I was doing it, I found out that a mechanic is probably not, it's something I really did not, I enjoyed doing it as a hobby, but when I had to do it for a living, it really killed my drive as far as a mechanic. I really didn't love cars quite the same anymore. Anything like that. Wow, all those flakes came out of ears, and it tells you how I need to do this more often, huh? Yeah. Alrighty then, either that or... Yeah, no, that's shaving off of there. That's what that is. It's not brass from freaking bullets. I think it's eating away at my tool here. But, yeah, keep that. Where's my 130? There it is. 22. Let's get this sucker all oiled up. And start putting her back together. On that. Up there. Forgetting a step. Always forgetting a step. Why am I always forgetting a step? Where'd my little tool go? Could have sworn I just had it right here. Oh, there it is. Blending in. Note to self: do not use a navy blue top to look for black tools. It doesn't work that well. And it makes it difficult for you guys to see what I'm actually doing with black guns as well. Maybe next time I do this, I'll have a white or green or some other fucking color that the guns don't blend in with. But run this down my bore since I stripped all that down. It's starting to get all gunky. Oh well. That's good for the gun. There's absolutely nothing wrong with running the same freaking tool down, the same patch down it a few times just to get it cleaned out of all the little pieces and solvent that's in there. Let's grab a new piece. That way I can get something that's easier to see. Let's see if there's anything left on this one. Look at that, hardly anything on there. Alright, cool, now I can start oiling it. Forgot all about that, I started freaking just going to town on it. But, well, anyway, as I was going through that job, I started thinking about it. My roommate, of course, I moved in with him after a process of starting that job. And I got in a fight with my grandparents. My parents got in a fight. We all kind of split our ways a little bit. Of course, I still talk to my parents because, well, they're family. I recently started talking to my grandparents again because you can't avoid family forever. It's just one of those things that you can't do. And if you try, all it's going to do is give you a headache. Family's forever. You got to remember that. And, well, my roommate started talking to me, and I listened to all these war stories from everybody I'm running into. And I started thinking, well, I wanted a job that would start providing me with a little more in life. Start giving me benefits like healthcare, 401k, or retirement in general. Um, Possibly help me with getting out in life, maybe pay me more money than I was making. And as I was doing that, my roommate brought up the idea of possibly going to the military. And I was thinking I was possibly too old, and I looked into it and realized I wasn't too old. And as long as you're not like in your 40s, or what is it, like 37 or something like that? I'm still in my 20s, so I haven't even done it. So it's like, oh, I still got life left in me. I can do it. So I go down and I talk to a recruiter, and they told me for sure I could sign up. So I go down and I start studying. I study my ass off. Year and a half later, I end up losing the job that I was working at because I had an accident on the freaking job site, and they couldn't tolerate it. And I ended up picking up a job at Walmart. Worst company to work for. I swear to God it is. Not that the benefits are bad. Walmart has some okay benefits, and you get health care and things like that. But it's the management that I was having a problem with out where I live, because management did not know how to communicate, and they were just cutthroat. They just wanted to. It seemed like to me all they wanted to do was hurt each other. With this oil, nice layer around it, and it was just like, and they would use us employees and as their workhorses. They'd be inside playing on the computer, and we would just be doing all the work. They'd have something else to do. They'd just come up with it, and they'd use the excuse that they had so much to get done. Then you'd look in there, and all they're doing is sending emails and everything else. And I laughed, and they tried to tell me it's a lot harder work than I realized, when I didn't realize that the job I had where I was running around as a mobile mechanic, I basically had to run as my own boss. I basically had to learn to do everything because my boss wasn't always there to freaking take over jobs for me if I had an issue, or write up paperwork, or even send emails. I ended up having to do all that. So it was like I was running myself as a management when he wasn't around. When he was around, then he was the upper boss above me to tell me, hey, this is what's going on, this is what you need to do, and everything else. If you don't do it, the higher ups are going to be pissed off at you and that sort of stuff. So I kind of already knew the gist of running myself as a supervisor. And I'd look into it, and I'd start doing all this stuff, and suddenly, and Walmart's telling me that all this other bullshit, and they're I'm getting in trouble for petty little things that most people don't get in trouble for. And I kind of took it as a threat, like they were threatened by me. Probably shouldn't have, but that's kind of the way I looked at it. But it didn't affect me any. I let it do its thing. So that way, yeah. I just want to make sure I get into. Oh yeah, that's what I need to get into there. Those mixing trains, make sure the oil's good up. Liberal oil. I need a liberal amount of oil because I'm going to be storing these things while I'm going through the military. And fortunately, they kind of provide a whole lot for you, so you really don't need to take all your toys and fancy items with you. But I'm not giving up my guns and everything. I'm not selling them. No way. I'm just going to store them, pull them out every now and then when I need it, when I want to, and everything else. And luckily, my family were big into these things, so I won't have an issue with somebody holding onto them for me while I'm doing that. At some point, I'll end up getting a storage trailer, storing them properly. It's a funny word to it, but flip it around. Sorry. There we go. Get it all up in here into all my little mechanisms. I just don't want any of this stuff seizing up while I'm going through the military. It really would blow pretty bad. Oops. Don't do that. Anything that moves, pretty much, I want to make sure it gets oiled. Go in there. But yeah, but I finally studied up enough to take the ASVAB just before I started with Walmart, and I went down, took the ASVAB, had my physical, no issues, which is very good, because I had noticed a lot of people going in and they'd have issues and problems, and they'd run into, it would just be one thing after another, and then of course they would blame it on themselves. Sweet. Alright. I'm going to oil up the set here because I want to make sure it's getting into moving parts properly. So, like I said, it's going to be in storage, so putting a pretty good liberal amount all over this sucker is a good idea. Nothing wrong that can come from it. You just got to make sure when you pull it out, you'll play with it again. You run a swab over it to clear off a lot of the oil that you're putting on there, so as it sits, it doesn't rust. The oil will prevent the rusting, but you don't want it when you play with it, because if you get too much oil, it will burn to the barrel and other stuff. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, I passed, and then I was going in. I wanted to be an engineer when I first looked at it. I really wanted to be an engineer because I like to do things. And I started noticing as I was doing side jobs and things like that for other people that I had looked at things a little different than I did. I thought it was just that I had a very unique mechanical background, that I could do things and see things like a mechanic, like most people couldn't. And then as more I went into it, I realized I was looking at things from an engineer's point of view. I would look at stuff and I would sit there and say, well, because of this, that, and it would be just reason after reason on why something would be put together a certain way, or why I would do something a certain way. It came out to be that was my thing. That's what then I started to realize that's actually what I really wanted to do. Even though I hated math, I was like, I actually like the idea of being an engineer and doing that sort of stuff. So I went in MEPS with my recruiter and was going at it with the telling him I wanted to be an engineer. I did not score high enough to be a nuke, so I was okay on that. I didn't want to be a nuke anyway. It's like, oh, I don't like math in the first place. And then they went through and they offered me a few jobs, and I turned them down. And I had to remind him I did not want to be a mechanic. He offered me that like twice, and I was like, no. And then he finally came out with electronics, advanced electronics and computers. So I was like looking at that, because he told me that if I wanted to be an engineer, I'd be waiting upwards of a year to 2 years, and I was just like, I do not want to wait that fucking long. And I was like, so screw you. And then he hands me that job. First freaks me out because he tells me that it deals with programming, and I thought he was talking about coding, and I was like, no, that's way too much math. I have to do science. That's a whole lot of work. Like, I know what it takes to freaking do that. I got a friend who does that for a living. It's a whole lot. He fucking hurt my brain one night talking to me about it. And then he told me it didn't have to do with coding. And then I looked into it, and he was telling me about FC, and I was looking into it, and I talked to a guy over the phone. He had me talk to him on the phone. And to kind of point it out and everything, and I was like, okay, talk to him, and I looked at him, and I read it over, saw how much schooling it was going to take, and how many credits I could get towards a college degree. And I thought about it, and I was just like, yeah, I could still be an electronic engineer. So I could use this towards becoming an electronic engineer. So I went ahead and took the job. So 8 months instead of a year to 2. It's like, sweet. That's where I prefer to sit. I wish it was a lot sooner, because, yeah, that's what we all wish, right? To leave a lot sooner. Suck it down there to get my fingers off. Yeah. So, yeah. So I got that. That's what I'm going in as. I wanted a change in career. That's why I'm going in the military. But that's one gun down. It's going to be a bit before I get the rest of them, but I think this video has run on long enough. Anybody still watching at this point and hearing me just ramble on, you're awesome. And stick in there and help support me out, guys. Maybe I can help make you guys changes and that sort of stuff. So, yeah. Thank you. And leave comments down below if you enjoyed what you saw, and let me know if there's anything else you guys would like to see.